We're kicking off our series talking to the 2025 PMEA All-State Guest Conductors on today's PMEA's Take Note podcast. Well, hello, everybody, and welcome to this edition of PMEA's Take Note podcast. I'm Mark Despotakis, and this is our first in our annual series where we talk to all of the All-State 2025 All-State guest conductors, our first in a series of three editions doing this. So we're going to kick things off right now by welcoming in the conductor for this year's contemporary a cappella ensemble, Dr. JD Frizzell. JD, thanks for being with us.
Hey, Mark. Thank you. It's great to be here.
So let's start off with, I always say it's easier for you to do this than for me to do it. Start off, just tell us about yourself so that particularly the students who will be participating in the ensemble know a little bit about you.
Sure. So I have been a high school choir director for 17 years here at Briarcrest in Memphis, Tennessee. I have a long history with contemporary a cappella. My a cappella group, One Voice, they are here at the high school with me. They have done a lot of cool things. They've been on America's Got Talent. They've performed at the Emmys. They have had their music heard by over 120 million people. Collaborated with a lot of Grammy award-winning artists. And through all of those opportunities, we have developed a system that we use to sing at a really high level in the contemporary a cappella realm. And there are hundreds of groups around the world that now use that method. So contemporary a cappella is not all that I do. It's just one class that I do a day. But it is really important to me. In 2013, a few colleagues and I started the A Cappella Education Association, which is a nonprofit dedicated to helping teachers and directors create successful a cappella groups. And then in 2015, I founded the National A Cappella Convention, which still exists today. And it is now at a convention resort in Orlando, Florida. I've written a couple books with Deke Sharon and Mark Silverberg about contemporary a cappella. And basically, I'm just a big music nerd, and I love getting to create this kind of music with students.
Very cool. Perfect fit then to join us as a guest conductor. And I love the America's Got Talent and Emmy piece. That I'm sure the students want to hear some of those stories for sure. When you're with them. So let's talk about the 2025 PME All-State Ensemble. What are some of the highlights of the musical program that you've selected?
So it's a varied program that has different styles and genres just to create, to give the students both, exposure to different types of music. The thing with pop music is that most students have way more context through which they can understand this type of music than they would, music that they sing in a traditional ensemble. One of my favorite pieces that we're going to do is an arrangement that I did, a Fast Car by Tracy Chapman. And it's a slow, haunting ballad version of it. I think that will probably be the emotional, probably climax of our set. We are going to close with Rob Dietz's arrangement of Higher Love by Steve Winwood. And that one will probably bring the house down. It usually does. We're going to try to get all the audience involved in singing as well on that. I always think some audience participation is fun. But all of these charts are challenging as they're all a cappella. But in each one of them, there are only a few of the all-state singers there in Pennsylvania that are going to be singing each part. So unlike, a traditional ensemble where there might be 40 or 50 or 60 singers singing the same part as them, they're going to be 3 or 4 or 5. So they've got a big challenge ahead of them in learning this music and being able to come into those rehearsals and sing it, with precision so that we can come in and make some really moving music. And I think we have the opportunity to do that because that same understanding and greater context that our students are going to have with that pop music, the audience is going to share that same level of understanding. These are songs that a lot of them that they've listened to on the radio when they were, when their parents were kids, and they're going to know a lot of the words and they might sing along. And that's not necessarily something that always happens at a traditional choir event. So I'm looking forward to sharing all of that with the students very soon.
So you hit on it a little bit, but what are your hopes for what the students who participate in this ensemble are going to get out of being in it?
I mean, first and foremost, I hope to challenge them to become, better singers. Vocal technique, we will dig in on a lot of vocal technique, and because the ensemble's small, it will be individual vocal technique. They will each become better singers throughout that process, and I hope to also make them stronger musicians, having to be responsible for their own part and all of their own articulations and dynamics and phrasing and placement and blend and balance all the time, with very little wiggle room, is just a tremendous expectation for a young person. And so I hope that both their vocal and musical abilities are going to be heightened significantly during these few days that we're going to spend.
Yeah, all right, very cool. I'm always fascinated to try to kind of get into the heads of guest conductors, to get a sense of what is this like for you, coming into an honors ensemble of students that you've never met, but they're talented musicians, but they've never performed together, they never rehearsed together, and they're going to be doing something at a really high level. What is this like for you?
A little bit terrifying, Mark. I'm not gonna lie. I've done these before quite a few times. I mean, there aren't many all states, so this is exciting that Pennsylvania is sort of leading the way. I think there's only one other state that has a contemporary a cappella all state. I did one at ACDA last year, and um, so yeah, you don't know. I mean, you have no control once they're on stage. You have to hope that they're empowered to do a great job. But for me, the first thing that we have to build is trust with each other. They have to learn to trust me, and more importantly, they have to learn to trust each other, um, both musically and just as human beings. There's a lot of themselves that they will be sharing through this process, emotionally and musically, and so we'll build that trust um, at the very beginning. That will be something that we'll start with, and then something that we will build throughout the 3 days. And one of the ways that we're going to do that, I use improv games, and we'll be using some of those, not like theater improv games, but like musical improv games. And then also we will we'll be building their competence throughout the process for each piece. The whether it's the staging or the phrasing or the memorization or whatever it is. I find that building competence is the best way to build confidence in young musicians. So we'll build that competence to create confidence, and that to me seems to be a very reliable method of creating successful performances at things like this, when we all just get thrown together and said, hey, everybody meet each other. Okay, now make life-changing music. Good luck.
Very cool. All right, so for those students who are going to come and make that life-changing music together, what is the one thing you would want students to know about you before they show up for that first rehearsal?
Oh gosh. Okay. I've thought about this, and the first thing I would say is, like, forget me. The most important thing that you can do, as one of the singers who's going to come work with me in a couple of months, is learn your part like you've never learned a part on a piece before. Learn those notes and rhythms upside down and backwards, so that you have a firm grasp and there's not a single phrase in the music that is even a little bit uncertain for you. About me, something they need to know about me is that um, I work I work really hard. I demand really high expectations of the musicians that are in my ensembles, and I will be bringing those expectations with me to Pennsylvania. So the same expectations that got some of my groups to places like America's Got Talent, the Emmys, it's those musical expectations that create the opportunities. So that's what I'll be bringing with me. And I just hope that they know that we'll have a lot of fun together. I feel like when you're prepared, which is why I mentioned that before I said the thing about me having high expectations, if they're prepared, then it's a lot of fun. When you aren't having to fix small musical issues and notes and rhythms and things like that in a rehearsal, it is so enjoyable. And I think we will know that we have all done our job when we are sitting there laughing and crying and sharing stories, and becoming a family. That is typically the way that these types of ensembles have worked for me in the past. So expect me to bring those expectations and know that we've met them if we are having an amazing time, which I expect that we will.
I'm sure that you will, and I know the students are looking forward to this. We are all looking forward to this now. About 2 months or so away, so we can't wait to see you in the Poconos. JD, thanks for joining us today.
Mark, thank you. I'm really looking forward to it. Thanks for having me.
We'll see you soon. All right, and moving from contemporary a cappella to talking about jazz, we're here with Gary Smulyan, who will be the conductor for the 2025 PMEA All-State Jazz Ensemble. Gary, thanks for being with us.
Mark, thank you. It's a thrill and an honor, believe me, to be conducting this incredible band and being part of your festival. And I'm really I can't wait. I'm really excited about being a part of it.
Well, fantastic. I think we're going to get folks even more excited as we hear about the program and some things you have lined up today. But first, let's start with, we're going to have a lot of the teachers and a lot of students watching us. Tell us about yourself. Let them know about who you are, who's going to be up there conducting with and working with them.
Well, my name is Gary Smulyan. I was born April 4th, 1956 on Long Island and started playing the alto saxophone when I was 8 years old in elementary school. And music was something that, for some reason, I kind of took to immediately. I loved it. I opened up the case and saw that shiny saxophone in there, and it grabbed me right from the start. I am a product of public school music education. Both of my parents were teachers. My mom taught kindergarten. My dad's guidance counselor. My brother's a public school teacher as well. So education has always been important in our family. So like I said, I started playing when I was 8, and for me, teaching education is really an important thing to keep doing because I had so many great teachers. I was lucky to grow up in a certain time, in a certain place on Long Island. I had a lot of friends who played, grew up with some great musicians, discovered jazz when I was about 13, and met just a fantastic assortment of young musicians who became friends and colleagues throughout my entire life. And we all grew up listening, playing jazz together. Some of the teachers I had growing up on Long Island were jazz icons, people like tenor saxophonist Billy Mitchell, trumpeter Dave Burns, alto saxophonist and clarinetist Joe Dixon, who ran the Long Island Neophonic Youth Jazz Orchestra, where I got my first experience playing lead alto. I had always been an alto saxophonist and an aspiring alto saxophonist as a jazz saxophonist as well. And when I was 22, had the good fortune of getting a phone call from Woody Herman asking me if I wanted to join his band on baritone saxophone, which was something that I was not quite ready for or expecting. I had a friend on Long Island, a trumpet player, great trumpetist Glenn Drews, who had joined the band previously. I was 22 years old. He was a couple of years older. And the baritone saxophone in that band, Bruce Johnstone, one of the great baritone saxophonists of all time, was leaving. And my name got thrown in the hat. I'm not really quite sure why. I never played the baritone saxophone, didn't own one, wasn't really interested in going in that direction. But at that time, Woody Herman was touring 50 weeks a year. They were on the road all the time. So that was really, for me, my serious start as a baritone saxophonist, and that was my music education. I did go to college, but I didn't finish because I dropped out right before I graduated to go on the road with Woody Herman's band, which was a life transformative experience for me as it changed my life from an alto saxophonist to a baritone saxophonist. So then I stayed there for 2 years, and the baritone became my voice. Moved back to New York, And shortly after that, I had the good fortune to take the baritone chair over in what was then the Mel Lewis Jazz Orchestra. Started out as the Thad Jones Mel Lewis Orchestra. And we were actually at the Vanguard all this week, Village Vanguard all this week, celebrating the band's 59th anniversary of Monday Nights. The band started February 6th, 1966. And this is our 59th year of playing Monday nights at the Village Vanguard. So if anyone's in the New York area, the next couple of days, come on down and hear the band. I think you would enjoy that.
Very cool. No question. We picked the right person here with that great amount of experience. I think the students are going to really enjoy their time with you. So talk to us a bit about the musical program you've selected for the PMEA Jazz Ensemble this year.
Sure. Well, it's a mix of composers, and all of the music it's not directed at like high school age. It's very stretching for abilities. It's all band music that's been recorded by big bands professionally, Mel Lewis mostly. We have composers Bob Mintzer, Bill Holman, Gil Fuller, Dizzy Gillespie. We have a whole range of composers and arrangers, Thad Jones and Jerry Dodgen. So it's an exciting program, playing Herbie Hancock music, playing some standards, Just Friends, playing a blues by Thad Jones called Towaway Zone, a Herbie Hancock composition, Dolphin Dance. And sorry about that. I live right on the train tracks, not on the train tracks, but next door to the Metro North train. The trains go by, so I hear that all day. And a piece by the great Jim McNeely entitled Extra Credit. So as I said, these pieces have all been recorded, and they are extremely high-level pieces of music to play. They're very complex. There's a lot in there. There's a lot to digest, and there's a lot to learn. So I'm excited to have a chance to play this professional level, extremely challenging music with these young musicians and exposing them to the opportunity to be able to perform this.
Yeah. So, talking about those students, what are you hoping that the students who will be in the ensemble are going to get out of this experience?
Well, playing in a big band is certainly an art form. It's about blend, articulation, phrasing, playing together, knowing how your note fits into the chord, how to play well balanced with a good sound and a good concept and good strong sense of time. I just think, but primarily, I'm hoping that the students have fun. This is really about having a lot of fun and having a good time playing this music with probably some old friends and new friends, and having the opportunity to create some new relationships and the opportunity to kind of just grow and explore. But more than anything, just to have fun making music together. I think that's the social part of music is really the most fun, making music with other people, and I think that's incredibly rewarding, and all musicians get so much out of that.
Yeah, for sure. So let's talk about what this is like for you. I like to get into conductors' heads. What is it like for you to come in and work with, a group like this at such a high level? These students are such a high level, but also they've never performed together before. They've never even rehearsed together before. What is this like for you coming into that?
Sure. Well, I mean, the idea is to try and form some kind of identity as a band and some kind of personality, and that'll take some time. But that's part of it. That's part of the magic of playing with people for the first time, is that to see the evolution of it, and over the course of a couple days, how to develop as a band, and to kind of have some kind of identity and some kind of a personality and a sound together. And that that's especially since they haven't played all together, that it's a new world and a new way to discover their way of playing with one another. So we're going to work on, like I said, this music is very challenging, very complex, a lot of it, and so we're really it's about that, trying to forge some kind of a sound that is swinging, that is well blended, that is well rehearsed, and spontaneous too. I mean, jazz is by nature a spontaneous art form. So I'm hoping that we can not rehearse all the spontaneity out of the music and still have like moments of magic by being in the moment and allowing things to happen as they happen as well.
Yeah. So as the students are getting ready, looking over the music, thinking about what this experience is going to be like in the Poconos, I'm sure they're thinking about what is this going to be like to come and work with you. So what is the one thing you would want the students who are going to be in this jazz ensemble to know about you before they arrive in the Poconos?
Sure. Well, I would say that my approach is very loose. My approach is very off the cuff. I'm not a really strict kind of disciplinarian type of conductor. I mean, I really want to come to this from the direction of exploration, fun, spontaneity. And I also want to make sure that since this is a jazz ensemble, that everybody has a chance to solo who wants to have a solo. I mean, I don't want anyone to walk away feeling frustrated or feeling annoyed or like, I didn't get a solo, I didn't get a chance to play. For me, that's really important for everybody who wants to be represented will be represented, and we will find a spot for everybody who wants to play a solo. I think that's important. This is a big moment for these young musicians, and I understand that, and there's a lot in the game happening here. So I want to make sure that they have a good time, they have a chance to play, their parents and their family and their friends and their colleagues and their teachers are all happy from this experience, and everybody walks away lit up, excited, inspired, wanting to practice and wanting to continue.
Well, fantastic, Gary. We are looking forward to seeing you in the Poconos. We are certainly looking forward to hearing and seeing what the Jazz Ensemble puts out. Thanks for being with us today.
It was totally my pleasure, Mark. Thank you for talking with me today.
And yeah, we'll see you in just a few. Yeah, we'll see you in a few months in the Poconos.
Thank you. I look forward really very much so.
Awesome. All right. And thank you all for joining us on this edition of PMEA's Take Note podcast. We also want to thank our sponsor, the Grove City College Department of Music. We'll see you next time.